Well, well. Good evening. All you cool cats and kittens. Those of you who know they're making another season of Tiger King. How can they do that? With Joe Maldonado passage in the clink. I don't know. But they're going to figure out a way. I can't even wait another moment to do this. I need it. Have I done the beard dye thing again? Yeah, sure I have. I most certainly have. I can't seem to get it right. Can't seem to get the combination right. I can't seem to get the exact amount of time correct. So I overdo it when I'm trying to underdo it. But there's reasons, some of which I maybe am not at liberty to discuss. Some of which I am. I'm in a young field. Although I gotta admit, I actually like having a little more salt in the beer. I was actually a little disappointed by the amount of pepper that was applied. It didn't leave a whole lot of salt, but a few shampoos and it'll be back. And it'll reach what in my mind is an ideal state in about 3 weeks. And stay, okay for a month or two. So welcome back, everybody. As you all may or may not know, took a couple of weeks to myself. A couple of weeks of me time. It wasn't really me time. Some of it was my aunt and my mother visited. I had not seen my mother in over 2 years. And she's getting up there. If I'm dyeing my beard, my mom's getting up there. So it was it's always bittersweet. Like for me, it was the time leading up to her coming to visit. I started to feel this kind of creeping apprehension. I wasn't really sure what the source was, but then in looking back on it, I realized, how many more visits am I going to have with dear old mom? Possibly not very many more. And one being on the horizon was nice, and then it happens, and then it's over, and there is not currently another one on the horizon. So I think that's what was causing my anxiety there, although it was pretty buried. The cause was pretty buried. Required a good 10 minutes thought sitting on my back porch. As my neighbor complains about a dead tree which is dropping branches into their yard. Saying things like, I guess I'm going to have to pay to get that branch removed too, right? Nice passive-aggressive rear neighbor. I don't own this house. I rent. This is my landlord's problem, not mine. And I told her as much. Anyway, so yeah, mother and aunt came to visit. Went on like a little, I don't know, I guess it was like a little kind of Civil War history road trip. Went back to Harper's Ferry, which I went on and on about in the past, so you all know, probably know, maybe know, that is where John Brown led an insurrection as an abolitionist against the United States Marine Corps. Got his ass handed to him and was hung for treason shortly thereafter. It's weird, you know, you think about, well, when I think about John Brown now, I think of him like, well, here's a hero, right? Clearly, like, standing up for what is unequivocally right. Now, maybe were his motives altruistic completely? Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were. He was devoutly religious. He was a zealot. And he led an insurrection against the United States. Does it sound familiar? The difference is that history proved John Brown a hero, right? And it could be argued that, like, well, this is not a matter of, like, taking into account the time and the place. There's no excusing slavery by saying, well, it was back then. You know, George Washington, right? He didn't free his slaves until he died. It's a very interesting trend that pseudo-progressives possess. It's sort of, yeah, we definitely want all that change. Not right now, but, you know, shortly after I kick it, just to make sure that I don't miss out on anything. But the reason that I bring that up is, right, like, what if, and like I said, I don't think slavery is one of those things that, like, you can't say, well, it was 300 years ago or 200 years ago, so they didn't know any better. No, slavery is one of those things where, you know, like, it's just, you can, if you exist in the time where it's a culturally acceptable thing, you can buy into that, but there's no way that you can buy into that and not realize that what you're doing is subjugating other human beings. Maybe there were some people who actually believed that African Americans were 3/5 of a human or something like that. I very much doubt it. Those people were certifiable. But the reason I bring it up is because what if 50 years from now, it turns out the anti-vaxxers are right? Context would be everything in that case then, right? Like, 50 years from now, the heroes would be the insurrectionists of January 6th. Do I think that's going to happen? Of course I don't. Be stupid. However, when I look back on John Brown and I'm like, oh, John Brown, clearly a hero standing up for what is right, there is this little part of my brain that's kind of sitting there going, maybe there's like a little bit of hypocrisy there, because what he did was, you know, treason. And yet, on the other hand, who gives a fuck about the rule of law? Like, I don't. I genuinely don't. So, anyway, went to Harper's Ferry again, second time this summer. Was fortunate enough to snag a bed and breakfast that was a house right on the main strip of where Harper's Ferry is. So for those of you who don't know anything about Harper's Ferry, it's a valley where the Potomac River and the Shenandoah River meet. And so it's, you know, it's these two rivers meet and form one sort of a Y. And there are four states borders right there: West Virginia, Virginia, Maryland, another one. But anyway, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. The last time I went there with SJ earlier in the summer, and this was just after vaccines were, um, really taking purchase, and there was this idea that we were trying to get people to take vaccines as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. And there was a little bit of this bait and switching with, well, you can take off your masks once you're vaccinated. So when we went to Harpers Ferry, nobody was wearing a mask. So Harpers Ferry is technically in West Virginia. West Virginia, I think, currently has the lowest vaccination rate of any state, including Texas, right now. And I think it did then as well. And nobody was wearing a mask. And, of course, the irony that exists with a lot of these places that are like, have signs in their doors, tradespeople saying, if you're not vaccinated, wear a mask. If you're vaccinated, we're taking you at your word that if you're not wearing a mask, that means that you're vaccinated. And the irony there, of course, is that the odds are if you're vaccinated, you're still going to be wearing the mask when you go indoors, possibly even outdoors. Different levels of caution for different people willing to accept different levels of risk, but some baseline amount of sense. So those signs are really ironic, because you look in that, according to the sign, you look in that store, everyone wearing a mask is unvaccinated. Everyone not wearing a mask is vaccinated. The truth is almost certainly exactly the opposite. Everyone wearing a mask is vaccinated. Everyone not wearing a mask don't give a fuck. So we were there in West Virginia earlier, and it was really, really crowded because everybody was freaking out about being in lockdown for so long. And it was hot as F. And it was very difficult not to avoid the allure of air conditioning, regardless of whether or not there were a bunch of people packed into these places. West Virginia's governor, his name is Jim Justice. He is the richest person in West Virginia. He refuses to stoop down to the level of living in the governor's mansion because it's not mansion-y enough. Give you some sense of the man, although to his credit, at least he is trying to get people vaccinated. Anyway, so two very different situations within the span of a few months going to Harpers Ferry those two times. Was completely overrun, really, really hot, and people were like taking their masks and burning them and being like, no more masks. We don't have to wear masks anymore. We're vaccinated. Cheers. Everybody, let's hug and let me shout loudly and get aerosol bits of spittle in the air. Much more cautious, less festive mood this last time that we went. Unbeknownst to us, it was the 159th anniversary of the Battle of Antietam, which I, for the longest time, pronounced Antietam. I've been set straight. It's Antietam. I worked on a game for a long time. Well, not for a long time, for maybe better part of a year, about the Civil War. It's the only reason I know like what Appomattox is and could name a fair number of famous Civil War battlefields. But anyway, I was still calling it Antietam. And when I see the word, I still want to do that. Even though that N does not exist, the second N. It's Antietam. It's not Antietam either. It's Antietam. Anyway, that was a particularly ferocious Civil War battle. So we went to Harpers Ferry, we went to Antietam, went to Winchester, went to Shepherdstown. It was basically like a little tour of where, lots of Americans died in the name of either, abolishing slavery or wanting to keep their free labor. So, I didn't see many. It's strange, even I didn't see a lot of Confederate symbology or flags or statues. To be clear, I consider it offensive when there's a statue of Robert E. Lee at the town square. I don't consider it offensive if there's a statue of Robert E. Lee at the place where he died, along with the statues of, like, at the battle sites, right? Like that to me, that's like, okay, well, that's just like, here's where the battle happened. This was the person who was leading the baddies, right? You could tell because they had skulls all over their uniforms. And this is the person that was leading the goodies, right? It's not glorifying their existence. It's simply stating, here's what happened, here's where it happened. Make of it what you will. If you're from West Virginia, you'll make one thing of it. And if you're from real Virginia, you'll make another thing of it. So yeah, and it was humbling too, because my aunt is 78, my mother is 77, and they're quite spry for their age, quite ambitious in what they want to do and what they want to get done. It's very difficult for me or anyone else. I was with SJ to be like, hey, we're kind of tired. Could we take a break? Like, this is really hard to do that when you have a 78-year-old woman who is recovered from, oh no, my Mac is in the shot. Oh well. 78-year-old woman who's recovered from cancer, basically logging 20,000 steps a day, easy, and holding out a physical map and being like, we got to go here, we got to go here, we got to go here. It's hard to say no to that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was what I did with them while they were here. Then we went to Mount Vernon. There was a bit of some kind of, I don't know if it was a Renaissance festival or, no, it wasn't a Renaissance festival. What the fuck am I talking about? It was a 19th century, late 18th century style fair. That day was very hot. I had trouble that day. I don't do well in the heat. I think I've stated that a bunch of times. But, you know, I've been there before. Been through the Mount Vernon Museum before, but went ahead and sat through the 4D cinema experience that makes your seat rumble. And when there's supposed to be snow falling, there's little tiny bubbles coming from the ceiling. And that's what makes it 4D. It wasn't even 3D, really. Like, but I guess you couldn't do both. Like, if you had real physical artifacts trying to make it feel more immersive, you couldn't combine that with 3D glasses, and that wouldn't work. But anyway, so it was, I want to say quaint. Let's say quaint. So that was their visit, and that was 2 weeks ago now. And then, really, I was just like sort of coming up into last week, just kind of tired. I've been doing a lot of watching. I've watched a lot of videos. Been concentrating at work quite a bit. Been really like desperately combing streaming services for something worth a damn. So I have been watching, right? I don't give a fuck. So I watched a few other live streams. Like, I watched live streams from some people. I'm not going to name any names at all, except to say that these people may or may not be ASMR type people. And I was completely just shocked. Generally, this is not a ubiquitous trait, but it certainly seemed to be predominant, was that these live streams were such voids of banality and apathy and like nothing being done or said, and these people could not carry a thread if it was the silver cord linking their physical to their astral bodies. It was, frankly, it was embarrassing. I feel this is self-aggrandizing to an extent, but look, if this is your ASMR live stream, well, thank you. Yes, yeah. About 4 years. I discovered it when I was a kid, when my father used to read me stories at night. Oh, wow. You like what I do? Oh, cool. Thanks for saying that. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Like if that's right, if that's what's going on, if I can extrapolate, like if that's you projecting your brain and the thoughts that are going through your brain at any given moment outwards, more power to you. You're probably a very zen, non-anxious, possibly, at one with the universe type of individual. But I don't understand why you're live streaming. I don't understand why I live stream, really, to be honest with you. I don't get it. I know I have very little of value to say, but I do at least feel like I at least feel like I have things I want to say. Not everything is reactive. There's some proactivity going on there. There's some introspection, and I want to get it out. I can't imagine the mindset of the people doing these streams, or frankly, the people who are watching these streams, right? Unless the streams are ASMR by themselves. And there you go. This is the age-old argument that I have with myself every goddamn time I don't have the motivation to make an ASMR video, or I don't have the patience to make an ASMR video in the manner in which people actually want to see ASMR videos, which is shut the hell up and squeeze your squishy things, and whatever else you do, God forbid, don't say anything political. Do anything you want. Don't say anything political, but ideally don't talk at all. So I guess I'm just out of step. I suppose that a live stream in that milieu the idiom that I so non-sarcastically and with real heart demonstrated a moment ago, if the kinds of videos that you are known for making and people like you and subscribe to you for are essentially you doing that same thing, then of course your live streams would follow the same paradigm, wouldn't they? I guess. It's annoying to me. I mean, when I do one of these and I run out of things to say or things to do or whatever it is, like I get pretty peeved at myself. And there's a little bit of, well, I'm not going to let that happen again. I will have something ready to go in case my ramble runs out. Like this. So Well, this is a little bit doxy, but okay, whatever. I'm gonna do it anyway. So the company that I work at is in the middle of building this huge. They've been in the middle of building this huge complex of buildings, which, of course, when COVID hit, they kind of hit the brakes on that stuff, but they've since resumed. And part of that complex is a hotel. Now, this hotel is, I believe, mostly reserved for employees and associates who are traveling from other places. And they had a bit of a soft launch, and I wanted to go check it out. It's not very far from where I live, and we were looking for something to do Saturday evening. So we went and checked out this hotel, and it's very nice. It was great because there was nobody there. It was completely empty. The place opened on a Tuesday. We were there on a Saturday. The only people who were in the place were people who worked at the same place that I work, which were the very few people. I don't know how many. Couldn't tell you what percentage capacity the hotel was at, but it was very, very low. The employees had tons of time to indulge your whims. I brought my son there, and he had like a little bit of a. He kind of thought it was like a secret hotel, and there was some spy stuff going on there. And the employees joined in, which I thought was wonderful. But I'm sure everybody, you don't have to work in design or have worked in any kind of design field to see something and just be like, why the hell did they do this? Who was the mastermind behind this particular piece of physical design? So the paradigm that's being, I'm sure that tons of places have it. It's not new, but here's the old paradigm for an elevator is, you may have 4 or 5 elevators, maybe on both sides, right? And then you'll have some up buttons and down buttons, and you'll hit the up button or you'll hit the down button. And the next elevator that goes by that happens to be going up will stop at that floor and will take you to where they're going. The new paradigm for elevators, especially when we're talking about banks of elevators, is they work in synchronous, and they work synchronously with each other. So what you have is a keypad where you put in the floor you want to go to, and then it tells you what elevator you're going to get into. And it's taking all the requests from everybody on all the floors for, what floors need elevators going to what, and it will intelligently decide that, hey, somebody hit floor 1 and floor 3 and floor 5. So we're going to use elevator C because right now it's on floor 1, and we're going to fulfill those requests with elevator C. So it'll tell the people on 1, 3, and 5, go to elevator C, and you'll see a big C above the elevator. You'll walk over to it, and you'll get in it much quicker. You don't run into the same issues that you'd run into with the old style of elevator where, you have one elevator that you happen to be the first person there, so you get an elevator that goes all the way to the 35th floor. And you're kind of screwing everybody that comes behind you that's on the first floor. Anyway, that kind of stuff. So there's a pad with a list of the floors that you can go to. And there's, like a lot of hotels, you got to swipe a card if you want to go to a certain floor. This to me was, wait, what's going on here? What? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Whatever. Come show up at my door. Don't care. Anyway, so here is the pad that we were presented with at this hotel. Okay. Now, you see you're selecting your floor. 17 is grayed out for a reason that I'm not sure of. It might just be that it's still under construction, or maybe that's a maintenance floor or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Why would they list it? There's no 2 listed there. There is a 13, which I thought was a no-no, but I guess we're evolving beyond that. But what is with putting the logo like that over the numbers? Because I was not familiar with this logo. This is the hotel logo. I'd never seen it before. To me, it looked like a line connecting floors 21, 16, 11, and 5 to 12, 7, and then another one connecting 18, 14, 20, 15, and 9. So I was sort of like, what the heck is going on? And so on top of that, you have to swipe your card before you press the button. So I was pressing a button, and as I mentioned, SJ was with me, and swiping my card here at this little thing that looks like it says to swipe your card. It's got a little hand holding a card. Swipe your card. So I swiped my card, and I was pressing a button, and I was getting nothing. And then I started to wonder, like, whoa, does one of these elevators only go to these particular floors? Like, what's going on here? And then SJ noticed there's a second card swiper over to just out of frame here, to the left. A separate card swiper, right? Not like it didn't look like a temporary situation. It was a separate card swiper. So they swiped their card, and then all of a sudden I could hit any button I wanted. And of course, so this emblem they have over the floors has no use whatsoever, except to remind you of the logo of the hotel. But what it does is it's just a terrible example, I think, of it's a really physical design, and it's still kind of digital design, but in it had very physical effects. The physical design defect here is the fact that I'm swiping my card to the left of this thing instead of on this thing. I can't imagine that someday it's not going to be you swipe your card on the thing, but the separate piece that you swiped your card on looked pretty permanent to me. Anyway, I thought I would share that with you because it annoyed the hell out of me. It's really, really stupid. However, it did play into my son's spy game that we were playing. Not only that, weirdly enough, when we got to the room, I guess they had misassigned me to a room where someone who had the same first name as my son, I guess was supposed to get that room, and they had a letter to that person. So when we got there, my son sees this letter with his first name on it. It's fun. Anyway, so I'm what was that, 30 minutes of rambling? Something like that. I have more. I do feel like I have been sort of like storing it up. It's just like so much happened while I was away. But where do we want to go first? Okay, so how about this? If you like Ted Lasso, I'm very glad that you like Ted Lasso. And it seems like you're not in the minority, because everybody seems to think Ted Lasso is amazing. I still find it to be dreck. I can't watch it. I don't think it's funny. I don't think Jason Sudeikis is funny. Some of the casting is okay, but in general, it's just kind of meh. It's the same sort of handful of British actors you see in pretty much, generally playing B parts in lots of other BBC sitcoms. They're pretty good, right, as a rule, but you can only work with the words that you're given, circumstances that you're given, and I just don't get it. And it's not because it's sports. I have enjoyed things about. I like The League of Their Own. I liked Moneyball. But Ted Lasso just does not do it for me, even like a little tiny bit. And I ran across, and Ted Lasso won every Emmy, pretty much all the Emmys. Every Emmy it could possibly be nominated for, it was nominated for and won. Which, whatever, it's great. Look, it's like a salve, right? Ted Lasso is a salve for the horror that was 2020 and 2021. However, some people just don't like salves. Or perhaps you get your salves in different ways. Some people prefer, like for me, I really enjoy a salve that is like, no, show me something like way worse than what actually happened. Like show me the most horrific thing so that I can look at it and I can say, well, 2020 was a lot of things, but it wasn't that. That kind of thing works better for me. But I have the shows that I go back and watch that are just sort of objectively just drivel. Rick Mail and Aid Edmondson's Bottom. I will watch Bottom, until it wears away my bottom. And it's essentially two middle-aged men doing physical comedy, like lowest common denominator physical comedy. Makes the young ones look like something highbrow. I can't call to mind quickly enough at the moment. I don't feel like spending the energy doing it. Red Dwarf. I'll watch Red Dwarf forever. Not only, I've seen every Red Dwarf, I don't know, a couple dozen times. I'll watch those again. But I don't know. Ted Lasso doesn't do it for me. But anyway, so Ted Lasso won pretty much every Emmy that it possibly could, right? And I was just, looking through my CNN in the morning, and I look at CNN and I look at Fox. My suggested YouTube feed is, and if anyone sees it, I have to quickly clarify, well, yes, I watch this, but not for the reason that I'm aligned with it anyway. I watch it to be informed about, what the crazy people are doing as well. Anyway, so there was an article featuring someone from Ted Lasso. I almost said Ted Leo. What a horrible slight that would be to Ted Leo and his blessed pharmacists. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Anyway, here was what I saw. So apparently Seth Rogen mispronounced Hannah Waddingham's name at the Emmys, right? And here is the Entertainment Insider headline. Ted Lasso star Hannah Waddingham had a brilliant response to Seth Rogen's mispronouncing her name at the Emmys. I think before I show you the next thing, the key word here is brilliant. She had a brilliant response to Seth Rogen. And I was like, oh, okay. I like brilliant responses. There's nothing like a witty retort. Seth Rogen, I'm not, I liked him in Freaks and Geeks, and I think he's all right, I guess. I don't really have a strong opinion on Seth Rogen one way or another. Hannah Waddingham seems, probably one of the stronger characters on Ted Lasso. I was curious, what was this brilliant response? What do you think it was? What could it be? It was this. I'll have to call him Seth Rogen, she said in the press room after winning the Emmy. That was it. That was the article. And this was buried in the article. So, it described the situation, and then it made you kind of click through, and then it described the situation again, and then it gave you her biting, brilliant. The Brits are supposed to be really good at this. Who, in what world is this a brilliant response? What is going on? How much rope, pun intended, are we going to cut Ted Lasso because it made us feel better? It came up to us and it said, "You're okay. We'll make you feel better. There you go. Everything's going to be okay. Everything is nice. Everybody's good to everybody." So, she should go. She should be a writer for season 3, right? Anyway, that I could go off on Ted Lasso some more, but I won't, out of respect for, I know there are people who I am acquainted with and friendly with who love it to no end, and whatever gets you through the day without hurting someone else, and more power to you. I just find it unfortunate. That's all. I like this. It's celeb humor. Look, if you didn't find it funny, it's because you didn't get it. I do like that kind of fallback. Intellectuals use it all the time too, right? If you didn't get it, more fool you. What's the matter, Nasha? I didn't recognize you because of your new avatar. Do you watch Ted Lasso? Because that's what Ted Lasso is, baby talk. It is baby talk for a traumatized British Anglo-American society. I don't really think it finds much purchase outside of those. See, I don't love Barry. I thought Barry was all right, but I don't love it. I do think the new season of What We Do in the Shadows is fucking brilliant, and I definitely like it. When I think about that show, when that show launched, it was a huge underdog, right? Because it's based on a movie, sort of a pet project of Jermaine Clement and Taiki Waititi. It didn't have much going for it, right? Like, it was very much like, oh, well, this is going to be another one of those things that lasts 6 episodes out of the scheduled 12 and then is pulled. And then I saw Matt Berry had been cast, and I remember thinking, well, at least, if nothing else, this show will have Matt Berry in it. So a show with Matt Berry in it can't be all wrong. Little did I know that the remainder of the cast was, I cannot think of a better cast show on television right now than the main four main characters of What We Do in the Shadows. Heresy, I know. I think they usurp the crown from Jermaine and the original cast in the movie. I think the guy that plays Nandor, who I don't remember his name, but I know he's in Inside Number 9, and you wouldn't recognize him if you saw him in Inside Number 9, is just so fucking funny. I don't know what it is, but every time he says, that fucking guy, every time he says that, I lose my shit. Just like his balance of blustery machismo and insecurity is, I find so incredibly, I don't know, touching. And of course, Barry's, you and he were buddies, weren't you? He takes that to the next level. And the actor who plays Nadja is also just spot on. And I saw an interview with him, and her real voice is pretty close to Nadja. It's just like she took her voice and amped it up a little bit. Whereas I don't know. Like, I wonder, does anybody know what Matt Berry's real voice is like? Does he really talk like that all the time? Either way, it's brilliant. Either way, he's like an actor. He's playing an actor. His entire life is spent playing an actor who plays other roles. Or that's just the way he is. He's just got he's quite a talented musician. So maybe he has some kind of musicality in the way that he chooses to inflect certain syllables or stress certain words or not stress certain words. Really, I'm saying the same thing over and over again. Let's see this. A site-specific extrovert. That's brilliant. So yeah, when the cameras turn, and he's also right. He plays live music and is a really good musician, right? So he just has the ability to turn it on. That's incredible. Kai, you've heard Matt Berry not talk like that. Like, you've heard Matt Berry just kind of talk like, "Hey, I'm just talking like this," and it wasn't a bit. Because like even in interviews, he's always kind of sitting back and he's always going, "Now," and kind of does that thing where he's just doing that. I don't even know how to describe it. It's sort of a very British stentorian sort of choosing the weirdest places to stop and start. It's just brilliant. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry. So I haven't said hi. Let's say hi real quick here. Oh, I can't say hi to everybody. I'm going to assume that, like, if you were chatting in the last minute, you're here. So hi, Nasha. Hi, Kai. Hi, Isra. Warp Raven. May. Grace's Grove. Chels. Pavi, of course. Warp Raven. Of course, Leah. Already. Well, I didn't say hi to Leah. Roadside Picnic Basket. I don't know you. Who are you? Gizmo's great too, right? I would actually put Gizmo in a slightly lower tier as far as casting goes. I might even put Colin Robinson in a slightly lower tier just because he's pretty well, they're all one-dimensional. What am I talking about? I don't know. I don't love, yeah. And every time Matt Berry says bad, I'm convinced that had to be an ad lib. Like, I don't know, if not the brilliant writing or someone who knew Matt Berry. Cawthon. Hi. Faisal? Hi. Paloma. What? I mean, just like watch Dark Place. And watch The Mighty Boosh. And watch Snuffbox, the brilliant series he did with Rich Fulcher, which didn't get, like, I don't think very few people know that show exists. And then, of course, What We Do in the Shadows. People are talking about a puppy. I don't know. Going. I'm powering through. Hey, Q. Levy, good to see you. All right. Okay, what am I doing? Space Age ASMR. Stupor Monday. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, Levy. I did. I mean, insofar as if I had to have the birthday, oh, see, somebody did this. Wait, I can't mention this yet. So, hi, everybody. Yeah. And moving on. Am I in a suit? No, I'm just a shirt and tie. Just to sort of, I wanted to bring I felt if I put forth a bit of effort, I might feel the need to expend a little effort. Old Greg. Oh, gosh. So, to be fair, I've gone back and I've watched The Mighty Boosh recently, and it doesn't quite hold up as well as when I originally saw it. Old Greg is still great, and there's certainly still like bits that are fantastic, but there's a lot in there that's just kind of like, ooh, cringy, but whatever. That was 15 years ago now. Noel Fielding's on British Bake Off. He's moved on to bigger and better things. He's wearing lots of patterned shirts and making small talk with bakers. It's great. What am I? Okay, wait. Okay, I got to move on here. What does this say? What is? Okay, I'm just gonna bring this up. Oh, this is stupid. This is just like this is poor writing. If I'm reading something and something stands out to me as like, this is bad, why did they write this way? I might clip it and put it in the folder here to talk about on the next week's live stream. But to me, this is just like, right, oral antivirals have the potential to not only curtail the duration of one's COVID-19 syndrome, but also have the potential to limit transmission to people in your household if you're sick. That phrasing sounds like it limits transmission to only people in your household. And I thought that was poorly worded, but I'm not going to spend much time on that because it really wasn't worth it. Yeah, this was stupid, right? Murder rate climbed 29% in 2020 despite COVID-19 lockdowns. The argument could be made that it was because of, like, why is it despite? Because people are told not to go outside, like that's going to make people less sort of more happy with their situation. That's not going to cause more bubbling under strife and eventual lashing out and violence as a result. Seems silly to me. And here we are, because someone already mentioned it. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I love Mario as much as the next person. Mario, first of all, Mario is almost an Afghan cap. I forget what exactly. There's an initialism that was frequently used in the game development world that was asexual, faceless, nameless. Let me look this up. I should have had this ready. I don't. Forgive me. Or don't forgive me. Afghan cap. It is actually Afghan cap. Yeah. Okay, it's from Zork. Sorry. Yeah. Old-timey text adventure Zork defined an Afghan cap as an ageless, faceless, gender-neutral, culturally ambiguous adventure person. Which the point of cleaving to that, from that, was so that you wouldn't feel left out when you were playing a game like this. Now, obviously, Mario is not faceless, but he doesn't talk a lot. There's not a lot of character there beyond the blatant sort of anti-Italian stereotypical characterization. If anyone watched the cartoon or the live action or the cartoon, it was a live action show with, what was it, a cartoon show with live action bits, or was it a live action show with cartoon bits? I don't remember. It was one or the other. Either way, it was terrible. It had Lou Albano from wrestling as Mario. I don't remember who played Luigi. But it was terrible. It It's terrible. And so like Mario's about as deep as Sonic. So maybe they can do a good job with this, but what, Chris Pratt? Like, can someone else eat? I don't even like. I guess I get Jack Black for Bowser. I don't even know who most of these people are playing. You know, Charlie Day never clicked with me. I know there are people who will die on the Charlie Day hill. It's fine. Good for you. Anna Taylor-Joy, I like. I don't really know very much about her apart from the Queen's Gambit. But I thought they were really good in that. Fred Armisen. Frankly, like Fred Armisen, this doesn't seem like his kind of humor, right? Like it doesn't seem like the kind of, like his voice is very much, generally, even when he's doing characters, they're very sort of like daring you. I mean, he always plays like almost like a troll, right? But in this kind of open way. I don't know, for those of you who saw Last Man on Earth, he played a serial killer in one of the later seasons of that, and he was just fantastic because he was just like smiling, like, you know, it was a post-apocalyptic show where the idea was, you know, there was one last person on Earth. It turns out, of course, there's not. And the show at that point became this ridiculous kind of hard to suspend your disbelief in that they would, every time they would run across a new person, they would be shocked. They'd be, oh my gosh, there's another person that's alive. I'm going to give you all a clue right now. If there is a world-ending event and you think you are alone and you meet another person, that means there are a whole lot of people still alive. The odds of, if there are 2 people left on Earth, the odds of you running into that second person, exceedingly low. So just keep that like in the back of your head somewhere. If we experience an apocalyptic scenario and you run into somebody, your thought should not be, oh, I found the only other person left alive on Earth. Your thought should be, oh, I guess there are lots of people still left alive on Earth. Anyway, Fred Armisen played a serial killer who was in prison, and then this apocalyptic event happens, and he's trying to convince people that he's no longer a killer, the few people who are left alive. And he just does it in this very Fred Armisen-y way where, like, even if you weren't a serial killer, he's still kind of a bit of an ass, and yet maybe you can't quite buy him as a serial killer, but there's something off about him. Like, there's almost always something about, I don't know if anybody has seen Los Spookies on HBO. That's a brilliant show. I love that show. And it's got Fred Armisen in it as well. I think he executive produced it. If you have not seen Los Spookies, I recommend it highly. But he always plays like that kind of a character, like that kind of wide-eyed, smiley, daring you to sort of call him out for the jackass that he is. So I don't know what he's going to do here. Right? I don't know who he's cast on as. Yes, and Kristen Shaw, who I love, but again, I'd also like to watch a show that she's not in occasionally, right? My kids love Gravity Falls. She's in that. She's in Bob's Burgers. She's in What We Do in the Shadows. She's in Last Man on Earth. It's just like, you know, what happened to Maria Bamford, right? Like and even Maria Bamford gets a lot of work, right? It just seems like, I don't know, I guess it's the way it always is, right? Like they find their, and this is probably why when I watch a BBC show, I'm just like, why is this the same? Why are the people that are in snuff box the exact same people who were in Taggart. Yeah, or that when David Cross did the increasingly improbable adventures of Todd Margaret, I think, or what was it? There was this rash, I don't know why, of American comedians doing comedies in the UK, and I'm sure it had something to do with money. But they were basically just sort of picking out, kind of like Dave Grohl did to Sunny Day Real Estate when he was forming the Foo Fighters. He just kind of he watched this band, Sunny Day Real Estate, and he was like, "That band's good. They're good. I think I'm going to poach every one of them except for the singer and guitar player, and I'm going to ruin their lives by taking their band away from them." Spread your wings, like widen your, remove the blinders. I don't know what to say about this. It's over a year away. What am I going to do? Ava, oh, I didn't say hi and I didn't get to say goodbye, but good night, Ava. Is it though? Is this true? Like, are you? Am I supposed to believe from this that the same dozen or so people show up to every audition in the UK? There have to be talented starving actors in the UK. No, you liked Sunny Day Real Estate until they became the rhythm section of the Foo Fighters. Anyway, so, yeah, so a fair amount of my time has been, oh, and by the way, excuse me, if anybody wants to chat, feel free to call in. Free form subjects. So feel free to call and chat about anything. Anyway, what am I? Oh, Leela Bruin, hi. I don't know who this is. Sorry, now I'm just looking at chat. I gotta stop doing that. Kiss X Sis? I don't know. Right, so there's a perfect example, Leah, right? Like maybe there's an argument to be made for, hey, this film that I'm working on is going to make or break me and the people in it. And it's mostly unknowns or little knowns. And I don't want to take the risk. I need to, if I can secure bigger name talent, more well-known talent to this project, I'm going to do it. Well, a Marvel movie? Come on. You could put anybody in that. Everyone's going to go see it. Doesn't freaking matter. Wait, what's going on? Wait, what am I missing here? There's something here. Sorry, I had to mute to cough for a second. What's going on? He will never Nico. Kyon react to the show on stream. What show? I don't know what's going on. Reacting to what show on stream? Will never do what? I never read Katharina's story. I didn't know that. What is this? What did I do? I don't know what's the no for. I don't know what the no is for. Who wants to tell him? All right, what did I do? Okay, so it must be. Was it the K and the S thing that I said? Did I? It doesn't work that way. The box is opened. I can't know that something weird. Oh, you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. It's not going to end well. It's an anime show. Is this what people were talking about, this anime show? Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. I think I understand now. Apologies for not taking you all at your word. Well, so anyway, I'm going to move right on. I don't know about a story tonight. I don't know if I've got that in me. However, always up for a chat. I do want to read Katharina's story. Not, read it on stream. I shan't forget. But I don't know if tonight is the night. I'm just checking to see if I got any. Oh. Here, let's see. See what we got going on. Before I move on to possibly talking to some people, I did want to talk about one more thing. And that is searching for stuff that's worth a damn. So I've read a bunch, not in a bragging way, certainly not any breakneck speed. I read the new Stephen King. It was a Stephen King book. If you've never read a Stephen King book before, I certainly would not recommend that as where you start. Excuse me, but it was decent. Been trying to get more. I read. I think I brought this up. I read My Heart Is a Chainsaw, the new Stephen Graham Jones book. It was great. It was great. If there's any part of you that likes slasher movies and meta literature, I recommend this highly, as well as his other stuff. A couple of books of his that I've read that are really good. What else? Survivor Song. I've been delving into like the weird authors. Tanana Reeve Dew. Not that I haven't read Tanana Reeve Dew before, but reading more of her work. Laird Barron. Paul Tremblay. Paul Tremblay's Survivor Song I just finished today. Stuff in that realm. Did I already say? Yeah. I'm praying for the day that Thomas Ligotti writes another book. Can't tell you the number of times I like check to see if he's come out with something. I'll take Eugene Thacker in a pinch. But as far as stuff that has resonated with me, I think Survivor Song resonated with me. My Heart is a Chainsaw resonated with me. Survivor Song, in particular, was written prior to COVID, and yet it totally deals with a vaccine that is not accepted by a certain percentage of the population, causing an outbreak to be much worse than it needs to be. The way that it parallels and had I read that book a couple of years ago, I think my reaction would probably have been something like, that wouldn't really happen, right? But reading it now, I was kind of like, oh, geez, Paul, actually, you didn't go far enough. Strange how the world and worm turns. Something that I liked, so I haven't 100% finished it yet, but I am most of the way through it. And I'm not going to say that, I'm going to say that I love it on principle. I love it on principle. I love it for what it is trying to do. And I fucking love the main character. Is Mike Flanagan's new miniseries on Netflix, Midnight Mass. So, yeah, Midnight Mass is a very, very, very slow burn. Such a slow burn. And Mike Flanagan is one of those people who casts the same people a lot. I think in his case, sometimes to his detriment. I'm not really a big fan of some of the people that he repeatedly casts, again, without saying any particular names. However, the lead role that he cast in Midnight Mass is just Hamish, or I can't, this guy. He can't, he's at the top. He's that guy. I don't know if you can see my finger. Plays the priest. Coming to the small island town that has been on hard times since there was an oil spill. The Monsignor has gone on a pilgrimage and is replaced by the new priest who comes to this island of a couple hundred people. And then weird stuff starts happening. So I was into it enough and into his character enough that I'm definitely, I know for a fact, I'm doing this. That's happening. I'm not going to shave for it. And his hair is actually, you can't really tell, his hair is actually long and kind of slicked back, more like my hair was, although he has a much better hairline than I do. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a Midnight Mass ASMR video that I haven't even started working on. But once I get a bug like this, it happened to me with Control as well, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself from doing it very, very quickly. For me, right? Quickly for me. And if you haven't seen the show, even though I haven't seen the last episode yet, there is like it builds and builds and builds, and then it kind of breaks loose at a particular point. And I am past the point where it has broken loose. And I very much like it. I don't know that I love it. I very much liked The Haunting of Hill House, which was also Mike Flanagan. I was not such a fan of Bly Manor, which was The Turn of the Screw. But The Turn of a Screw is a short story. Henry James, right? And somehow he managed to extend it into 6+ hours of is the nanny crazy, or are the kids actually evil? And it was just long and drawn out and kind of boring. I think like the visual style on Midnight Mass is captivating. How can I'm going to say this without, how can I say this without spoiling anything? I'm not going to spoil anything. My first priority is not to spoil. So I'm just not going to say it. There is something, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there is something that at the beginning, when you're watching this show at the beginning, you will be like, huh, that's weird. You may notice it, you may not. You may think it was intentional. You may think it was not intentional. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because even though telling you what it is doesn't give away, the spoiler if I tell you what it is, but it would give you enough information that you might, for instance, be able to think about, well, why would this be the case, right? So I'm not going to tell you what the thing is, but there is a thing, and then you realize why things are that way as it progresses. But it's a bit like, if you notice it and then you kind of wonder like, well, why would that happen? It does kind of tip its hand a little bit early. Am I going to say this? Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say anything. Oh, good night, Warp Raven. Check out Midnight Mass. Yeah, so there are a couple things about it. So the mood, I think, is really well done. I'm a sucker for the And Then There Were None sort of trapped on an island aesthetic. The visual aesthetic of the kind of New England, Martha's Vineyard, almost, dare I say it, Pioneer's Lashy kind of setting. I'm a sucker for that too. Lovecraft was a sucker for it as well. So I really go for that kind of, we're all stuck here, right? And it takes care of all those MacGuffins for you, right? All of those plot holes, or those obstacles that plots used to have to overcome, or things that serve to like be a reason why this couldn't be solved in like a minute with the advent of the internet and cell phones and what have you. It takes all that away without having to go period, right? Doesn't have to be a period piece. It's set contemporary setting. It's just remote. And I guess I like the way, like when we were talking about months ago, talking about productive consumption. I like the way what this show makes me think about. There's too many monologues. It's padded out by at least one episode too much. And I have not seen the last episode, so maybe 2 episodes too much. I think it could have gone quicker. And I'm someone who enjoys a slow burn, but the the things about it that made me think that it could go quicker were mostly like, there's no reason for this conversation to be going on this long, and they're basically just repeating themselves at this point, stuff like that. So if you can get over that, which I recommend doing if you think you can. Yeah, Midnight Mass, and I hopefully will have a video for it sometime soon. Let's see here. Let's see if this works. It's been great coming back, talking to y'all. Watched a bit of Fight Club with the Discord over the weekend. That was fun. Come on, window. Why are you making my life so hard? So kind of me to mute when I cough, isn't it? So I got an interesting email here from Roadside Picnic Basket, who I don't know who that is. I mean, I see them in chat, but I don't think I've seen them before. Good night, May. See. I don't know if they're going to phone in or not. Stuper Monday, are you taking off? Good night, Stuper. Lisa missed Fight Club. It was fun. I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but it's been too nice out. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I lost for a minute there. I'm falling back into my. By the way, the card that you all sent, I guess, oh my gosh, I didn't talk about this, and I feel like an ass for it. So I got a card from Discord, and I was blown away. It's beautiful and touching, even though almost every one of them references an old man. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I realize I'm an old man. But that was so sweet. It really was. Let's see if we can will this work? I don't know if this is going to work or not. It might work. It probably won't work. But we're going to see. This is what I pay for. This is what I pay for, to see if this stuff is going to work or not. I'm going to throw a PDF at Ecamm, and I'm going to see what it does with said PDF. It shows it. Brilliant. Okay. So first of all, the art as done by Warp Raven, I believe. Right? It's lovely. I love this art. I wish I were that thin. So happy Womb Emancipation Day to one of my favorite people. You and the community you've cultivated are the anchor of my ship in the unpredictable sea of life. Hope you enjoy your day. Try not to lament the passage of time too much. From Q. That is beautiful and on theme. You have surpassed the far-reaching tendrils of time, and your success is obvious and magnificent. I disagree, but Love that sentiment, Trig. Happy birthday, old man, flag. Ever since Flag Low, I remember Flag Low. Let me see if I can do this. May become illegible if I get too much smaller than that. Yeah, Flag Low used to spite super chat me, kind of like the way Indigo does, or kind of does now. And that was always a blast, because we all won in that arrangement. Forever an inspiration to me, and in a field where I can say your videos consistently make me fall asleep, and it's actually the highest form of compliment I can give you. Thank you for talking to me in my dreams, Space Age ASMR. That's really, really kind. We don't age, we level up. Hope you have a lovely day, and you spend your XP wisely. A life unlike RPGs, the one RPG where your stats go down as you level up, except for intelligence. Well, even that eventually does. Right? Thank you for always being an inspiration and for creating such a wonderful and welcoming community. All the best, Warp Raven. Lovely, Warp Raven. But I wish I could take credit for creating this community, but of course I can't. Wishing you creative wealth, contentment, and countless cans of cold Coke this coming year. Happy birthday, Jessica. Of course, Jessica Graves, she of the awesome last name, who also super chats me to piss me off. That's very kind. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for sticking around with so many of us. Ms. I think that's a little slice of cake, which, oh my God, I've been craving so much. Happy birthday to the greatest omnipotent being on this side of the universe, Whispering Wolf. You could rearrange those letters. Can you make impotent? Yeah, you can. And be more accurate. To the adorable, melancholy cult leader of the brain trust we adore, many sincere congratulations. Thank you so much. KJ Bourbon, that's so sweet. I'm not going to read Nash's because Nash's sucks. Happy birthday, Sailor. Thank you for so much awesomeness. This thing you've created in the midst of a pandemic is great. It's given me a lot of people to interact with and something to look forward to every week. I've learned a lot from you and all the other Grinning Martyrs. The Discord server is called the Cult of Grinning Martyrs after a Thomas Ligotti short story. It's been a lovely journey. Your videos have helped me to battle insomnia. I'm sorry, it's very small for me to read, actually. Your work is highly appreciated. I think you'll realize you've touched many lives here. I hope the cake is good. P.S. I'd send you some real crepes and a can of French Coke, but I can't. So I'll send you a socially distanced hug instead. Colorful dreams. That's so kind. Happy escape from the primordial soup day. I'm glad there's a community that has come together to appreciate you and what you create. To another year. Palamine. Very, very sweet. And of course I'm going to read Nash's. How dare you have a birthday? It's not like you visibly age or anything. All jokes aside, thank you. Thank you for the ASMR videos that calm my brain during the worst moments. And thank you for bringing together a fandom of people that I find I do not want to live without. Oh my God. When somebody who is usually very jokey is heartfelt, that hits different. You've given me peace and a crap ton of best friends. I could never properly thank you enough for that. Please start aging so I do not look like a goblin in comparison. Nasha, believe me, I am so aging. A sincere thank you for all the things you've brought me over the past year or so. Wonder and awe, your video creations, the ability to sleep better, the connection with a lovely and creative group of people, including yourself. I hope that one day we'll all meet in real life in Brittany. That'd be something. If we had a meetup in Brittany and just like ran over the hills, the hillsides. It's like Sound of Music, right? To eat Misha's crepes and talk about the horror and beauty of life. Happy birthday, Ava. That's so sweet. Happy birthday, the others made me do it, Butterfly Composer. I would expect nothing less and nothing more. There's no dread quite like another year older dread. Happy birthday to the person who brought us all together. Thank you for giving us all an opportunity to hang out and learn together. Lexi. It's very sweet. Hey, Sailor. Happy birthday. I always have a blast tuning into your live streams, and checking out your newest ASMR shenanigans. Shenanigans? I hope you have an awesome birthday with lots of good food. Space Can. Yeah, I did. Food, but I did have a good birthday. Thanks, Space Can. Katharina is talking to me in German. Alles gut zum Geburtstag, as we stay here. Alles klar? Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Can I shrink you? What happened there? For this next year, I wish you nothing but happiness and health, first and foremost. Everything else will be arranged by life itself. Happy birthday and greetings from Vienna, Austria, Katharina. So sweet. A very happy birthday to a fantastic content creator. I feel like this is too much. This is too much. I really do appreciate all this, but I feel like reading it all is too much self-congratulatory. Happy birthday, old man. Thank you, Alexi. Thank you, KJ Oftenson. Yeah, there are some crazies. And I like that the acknowledgement here, part of the lovely community that you and Q have created. I definitely have not done it alone. I don't think that Q and I have done it alone. I think it's been very much a self-assembling group and a group effort. As the sand flows into the hourglass grain by grain, it makes sounds. The flowing sand whispers secrets of death and finitude. I know it can be terribly loud. I'm here to ask you to pay attention to the sand on the bottom of the hourglass, to the sand that sings stories of inspiration, that shows you all you've done, the ever-building golden pyramid of your creation. Wow, that's something. It brought us all together, and this is more than enough. Wow. In this time of performative cruelty, you gave us a place to be kind. May your eyes always be blessed with the sight of your own achievements. Be happy, keep inspiring, May. That's so sweet, and giving me way too much credit, but for one day I'll take it. Happy birthday to an absolutely astounding human, bringing out the best in all of us, calming our dark nights and cooling us in our burning days. I wish only the best for you in all your years to come. Oh, all your years to come. So optimistic. And it's been absolutely fantastic being along with you on the ride. Love, Ashley Voice Quills. I appreciate that for a lot of levels, for a lot of reasons, not the least of which, assuming I will have lots of years to come. Nick, hey, Sailor, that prize money got me through a dark time. I'll always be grateful for that and the mental and physical rest that ASMR has given me. The community that you've drawn around you has been a great place to be. You're a talented creator no matter what you think. He knows me well. And even if whatever's next is something completely new, I'll be excited because it's you. Happy birthday, Nicholas Wyman. Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Happy birthday, Scott, or at least a peaceful and comfortable one. I'm grateful for the content that you created and the space that you generated for us. Lirio. I know I'm just saying like these are all so sweet, but I'm being I don't want to get worked up over this stuff. Olevi used papyrus. If in fact Olevi chose the quote or the font. In poverty and other misfortunes of life, true friends are our sure refuge. The young they keep out of mischief, to the old they are a comfort and aid in their weakness, and those in the prime of life they incite to noble deeds. Aristotle. I don't like that quote. I don't think I'd heard it. Dear Scott, I'm wishing you a very happy birthday. Here's to many more years of laughter, music, and intellectually stimulating conversations. Olevi. That's so sweet. Thank you, Olevi. You've inspired with your art, craft, your humor set apart, daft. Your content has us hooked, gaffed. Sleeping to your storybook, draft. Now I'm saying that British, right? A weighty presence in our lives, Taft. Helping many heal and thrive, Graft. Oh. Birthday sailors a dream boat, Haft. Thanks for keeping us afloat, Raft. Samantha Q, that's so sweet. And very clever. We come from darkness, back to darkness, oblivion, but today we live. You being born makes me glad I was too, because I get to exist in the world with you in it. Happy birthday, Scott from Pavi. I feel the same way. Like, I feel so lucky that that I'm sharing. Like, it's weird. Like, people you'll never meet in real life. Like, even in, like, you look at so actual celebrities. I realize I'm making hand gestures here behind this, but the fact that you're sharing like the same timeline on Earth is it's just so unlikely. And of course it's easy to be like, well, you would just say that about whoever you happen to be sharing your timeline with, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you can still be grateful for those that you're sharing your timeline with. Thanks for the content. Been watching your stuff for yonks now. Really appreciate the effort you put in. Hope you're doing well. I hope your birthday is the opposite of boring, Max. It was the opposite of boring. I had a good birthday, and that was very, very kind. Thank you, Max. Wishing your body and soul a very happy anniversary. May they have many more harmonious years together. And thank you for all that you do to this wonderful community that you have founded with your creativity, wisdom, and... I was almost like, is that miasma? What is the miasmaisms? Miamiisms. Chels. That's very kind. And, founded, I don't think founded, but I'm glad to be a part of it. Happy birthday. Congratulations on the memory of your creative spirit emerging into the world. Thank you for all the fascinating videos and so forth. Best wishes for the coming year. I am hopeful for a tapering pandemic and a bit less gloom. Captain Sakana, writer of Minds, an excellent writer, by the way. Thank you all so much. That was lovely to read. Got me a little bit choked up there. Just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. But yeah, that was really, really appreciated. It made the day, well, the events of the day were great, but it made the reason for the day tolerable, which, in case you didn't know, I am 354 days short of entering my 5th decade on this planet. 5th decade. Christ. Yes, this was a great idea. If this was Q's idea, I'm assuming this was the project that I was told to keep my nose out of. So if this was Q's idea, which I'm guessing it was, thank you very much, Q, for doing it. Because it really did. It meant a lot. It still means a lot. Tomorrow it might not mean so much. Today it means a lot. What did I do here? Oh, damn it. PG. Don't do that. But thank you. I have more yesterdays than tomorrows. Bill Clinton. The yesterdays we create can be different than the tomorrows we imagine. Please spend this on bourbon and anime. Happy belated birthday. That is so sweet. Oh, man. Yeah, that makes me feel nice. Yeah, and it's true. Like, right, like when you think about it, it depends how you think about it. I guess I like to think about it as there are a lot of years in life where you may as well be dead. Like, you don't have things are happening to you that are preparing you to live to your potential, but you can't do them yet. And then there's periods in your life where, at the other end, where it's the same, right? So, I still feel like whatever it is that I have, I still have. I have noticed it like dulling a bit. Certainly if anyone's comfortable in chat talking about if they take or have taken Wellbutrin in the past, I'd love to hear about anyone's experiences with Wellbutrin. Because I'm at the point now in my life where it's just sort of like, I want to make the most out of what I have and the time that I have left, right? However long they may be. Let's not forget now, I am almost precisely the age that Douglas Adams was when he died. 20 odd years older than, the 27 club. It's like a, don't send super chats. I really don't want people to feel obligated to do it. I don't need the money. I don't need the money. Here, look, if you're, what's up? What's up? Les Paul. I'm showing you all this so you don't send super chats, because you'll be sending super chats to a dude who just recently bought a Les Paul. And was given one of the presents that I got from SJ was actually this golden reverberator that is a spectacular pedal. I actually have a mic. Is this mic on? No, it's not on. Let me turn it on. Let's see. Let's see if this is going to work or not. No, it's too. Mic is on. So you should be able to hear this. I don't want to blow anybody's ears out. Jesus. Don't want to blow anyone's ears out. Put you on standby. Probably should have prepped for this a little better. That reverb. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of... Yeah, I don't really want to play loud because I get all, damn it, I can't even find I get flustered and then I find that I can't play, or I can't play. I'm trying to. I just love that sound. That's just. What is that? I'm a little out of tune. It's always the G on a Les Paul that goes out of tune. I've looked at many Schecters and thought about them, but I've never. This is not my first Les Paul, and I've just never found anything that I like more than the sound of a neck pickup on a Les Paul. Anyway, that's what SJ has been tolerating for the past month or so now. All right, so we have someone in the green room here. You may know them. It's possible. Oh. Wow. That's like, if someone is into guitars, like buying them a guitar is just. Oh, what did I miss? What did I miss? Anyway, let's bring him on. You ready? All right. I got the all good from Nick. Hi, Nick. Guess what, Nick? Can no hear ya. Oh, wait, hold on. You're muted. Hold on. Try now. Oh, no.
There we go. Can you hear me?
There we go. Oh, quite loud. There's a bit of a lag on my end. Let's see. Like we have that problem, right? Like it seems like it resolves after a little
Sometimes it
while.
catches up.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so maybe
Yeah.
we could just move forward as if it's going to catch up.
Power through it.
I see your mouth moving
So,
while.
oh no. Okay.
All right, go ahead. Sorry,
Um,
you go. You go.
yeah. I guess just to pay homage to the actual topic you recommended, I have never been on Wellbutrin. I have no idea what it is. I have been on amitriptyline in the past, but everything that people complain about with amitriptyline, I never experienced. I was on a high dose for someone who's taking it, but not for someone who says they have a high dose.
What's the brand name for amitriptyline? 'Cause
Um, I don't know if it has a brand name.
is that maybe the?
I'm certain that it has a brand name. I don't know the brand name.
Let me see here, because
It's one of the tricyclics.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. This is a different. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So the tricyclics are older, right? They're sort of an older generation of depression management. Is that correct?
I think of them as newer because it's something that was only recently added to my training. But I am certain that they've been around for a while.
I wonder if it's newer within the. I guess I remember being on tricyclics, 30 years ago. So I'm sure they have the kind of new generations, right? They had Prozac,
Yeah.
and then they went to Paxil, and like the depression drug du jour seemed to change once every 8 to 9 years ago. I'm sure for totally non-money related reasons. It was all about like the improvements in the medication, and not like we got to put something out before the patent expires, or they're able to make
There is a known thing in the medical community where drugs cycle on about a 20-year basis, where even things like epinephrine, which are like there is one thing that does this, and it is 100% good. People won't be using it. A whole bunch of studies will come out that say, "Hey, sometimes this helps." Everyone will start using it. A whole bunch of studies that will come out and say, "Hey, this thing has bad side effects," and so people stop using it, and no one really actually does a risk-benefit analysis. They just go with whatever it says. And I am certain that there are exceptions to that rule, but they also tend not to be the type of person who writes the rules if they make exceptions.
Right. And there's also the sort of like, if your patent is expiring, put something out, but now it's got baking soda for extra absorption or something like that, right?
Yes.
You can renew it for another 10 years or whatever I don't know what the timelines are there, but it's certainly nefarious. But as someone who has been on, I've tried a lot of antidepressive medications or medications that might give me a little more focus. But I don't like stimulants. Like that's something that, like, if I get a stimulant, that's pretty much a guaranteed panic attack or anxiety attack if I get any kind of a stimulant. So Wellbutrin is one that it's sort of like, well, it's been suggested to me before. Of course, I read the possible side effects of it. One of them are panic, anxiety attacks, inability, insomnia. It seems like it's a bit of a kind of gives you a little kick. But I also hear a lot of, you can be more focused and less depressed. So I'm much more open now about like trying new things than I was some time ago, where I was very, very conservative about, like, I don't want to introduce anything new. The moment I take something, I'm convinced I'm getting every side effect from it.
The unfortunate thing about trying new things is that the more new things you try, the better you get at it.
That's true. And by the way, you've caught up completely,
Great.
audio wise. So you're synced perfectly, at least from what I can tell. You are synced perfectly.
I'll have to start doing the ventriloquism again.
I'll let you know if that happens. So Isra is mentioning Lexapro. I've tried Lexapro. My problem with Lexapro was, and without going TMI here, I had to pee all the time. Like, I was waking up 3-4 times a night with the need to micturate, and it didn't go away, and it was just like, I can't do this, right? It seems like a relatively innocuous side effect as far as some other medications like that have given me much more. I feel like I'm going to die kind of side effects, but it was enough that I was just like, I just can't go through the rest of my life like this, right? Um, but so you said you're taking this now?
I used to take that. It was
Okay.
prescribed off-label for my migraines when I was younger.
Oh,
And eventually, so one of the big things about amitriptyline and the reason that it's not used so much anymore, as far as I'm aware, is that it's apparently very addictive, or it creates dependence, however you want to phrase that.
addictive's just another word for it works real well. It works so
Yeah,
well you don't want to stop.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what people tell me about coffee.
Yeah.
Um,
It is
but
really sad, isn't it? I saw another, like, it's just, it's not even a question anymore, right? Like when you see, like, what happened with, like, Michael K. Williams, and there was another actor who I didn't know the name of, but it was, again, it was today. Basically, like, anytime you find someone young who has died in mysterious circumstances and we're awaiting a toxicology report, right? It's just like, it's fentanyl. Like, it's going to be fentanyl. It's going to be fentanyl. It's going to be fentanyl. It just seems like
yeah, usually
um, the
it's the
amount.
drug of choice these days.
It so is it, as far as you know, is it the drug of choice, or is it the drug that is uh, cutting being cut with heroin to make to allow you to sell less heroin um, for the same amount of money, right? By cutting it with a bit of fentanyl. Uh, th- I don't know for sure.
So yeah, in my city, the perception is that you will meet a lot more people will survive more fentanyl overdoses, and people are more likely to overdose on fentanyl accidentally. Because your meth overdose is going to come out as a gunshot with really crazy vitals, whereas your fentanyl overdose is going to come out as a fentanyl overdose. So perceptually, it seems to be the drug which people are overdosing on the most, and
But
that also gets into a definition thing that I think I discussed the last time I mentioned this.
but are they overdosing? Because if you take fentanyl, right, the dosages are like from what I understand. Again, I'm talking out of my ass a little bit. Um, the dosages are exponentially less than what you need to get high from fentanyl is like micrograms as compared to milligrams for heroin. So I'm wondering, like, what percentage of people who overdose on fentanyl specifically were like, I am taking fentanyl, or were they taking another drug that had fentanyl cut into it? I guess that's
It's
what I'm
more
curious
common to
about.
see stuff cut into fentanyl. Like I am taking a fentanyl pill that has something else in it, than it is to see fentanyl cut into something, if that makes any sense.
So
Like I
yeah,
have
that
actually never heard of someone who's like, "Oh, I'm doing heroin," and it turns out that we had fentanyl in there, and rather, "Oh, I'm doing fentanyl," and it turns out that there was meth in there.
Uh, so that's the opposite of what I thought, right? Like, because fentanyl being so strong, my understanding was that, like, you could take 20 milligrams of heroin, put 2 micrograms of fentanyl in with it, and put a fucking half
Yeah,
pound of baking soda in there, and
yeah,
you would still get the same high from the same amount because the fentanyl is just so overwhelmingly strong, and the tolerances there are so small that if it's like when you're taking acetaminophen, the lethal the toxic dose is 4 grams a day, right? And there are
yeah,
people who routinely take 2 or 3 grams a day, like just that's what they do every day. They're taking
yeah,
close to the toxic dose. And then there are drugs like Xanax where you're taking like a half a milligram a day. And I don't even know what the fatal, if you're taking it alone, and again, I don't want to be speaking out of my ass here, but um, having taken Xanax for a long time, bottle of it here, um, and I don't take a lot of it at any one given time unless I really need to. My understanding is that if you're just taking Xanax, it's hard to overdose on Xanax. Um, so, but fentanyl, right? Like the tolerance is like even if you have a scale, right, and you're measuring it out, if you miss by just a little bit, you could be fucked, right? Because the respiratory depressant, or you're just not going to breathe anymore, right? You're out. So I guess that was my layperson's understanding was like, oh, everybody is cutting heroin with fentanyl, and then selling much smaller amounts, but saying that it is pure,
Yeah.
and people who are taking it would still be getting a high, but the high they'd be getting is actually more from the fentanyl. But that's totally speaking
Well,
out of
and
my
you
ass.
could even be right. I have a very biased view of the matter.
But your
There
view,
is something kind of funny going on where one of the street names for fentanyl in my area is a little blue pill. And so someone will be like, yeah, he just took a little blue pill. And we're like, okay, so he took Viagra and stopped breathing? What? I didn't know Viagra could do that. I mean, like, I'm glad to know because that's going to change tonight. But, like, I feel like I need something else to figure out what's going on with your friend here.
so
Um,
so the without I realize like, well, I don't know what you can and can't say, right? But I'll ask the questions, and I guess if you can't, just tell me like, oh no, I'm not allowed to talk about that or whatever. But I am curious, like when you arrive at a drug overdose, a patient that's suspected drug overdose, right? And like you said, you can kind of usually tell like, is this in the opioid class of drugs, or is this some sort of amphetamine or speed or something like that? That stuff's pretty clear, right? Because you'd have super high heart rate. The effects are like
yeah.
diametrically opposed, right? So I guess I'm curious, where I want to say I don't remember where you live, like whereabouts.
Albuquerque.
Okay. Oh shit, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. The University of New Mexico email that I accidentally
Oh, that should have been
sent.
a dead
Yeah.
giveaway. So is there a lot of meth use, a lot of meth overdoses in the ABQ?
Okay, I see why you're asking now. I started legitimately thinking about it for a second. Like, well, it's funny because we don't really like. But no, actually, we have a lot of chemistry majors here, who grow something like this, and I feel like I know why.
Oh wait, what? Oh, the mustache.
The
Oh,
mustache,
because
yes,
it is
not the nose.
it is sort of a hero worship kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, they
Ah,
want to be teachers or something.
yeah.
I'm smart enough not to ask.
But I'm wondering if you see that reflected in the calls. Like, do you get a lot of meth overdoses, or
So this is a definitions thing. Overdose is kind of like drowning, where you can be asphyxiated in water, but until you are declared dead, you did not drown.
gotcha?
But in common use, I drowned in a pool. Um, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because what is a meth overdose is a tricky question to ask, because if someone overdoses on like fentanyl or any sort of like opioid, they stop breathing and then they die. That is how it works. A
It's not
little bit
considered an
more.
overdose if you're essentially not breathing, but someone gives you Narcan and you come back, right?
Well, it'll be dialed out. It gets complicated because how you define death is also like a technical thing. Where if your heart stops, you're dead medically. Legally, not for another couple minutes. But so like with an opioid overdose, the pathology you see is stopped breathing, heart isn't getting oxygen, brain death.
Right.
With meth, it's harder to get there. What you're looking at is a tachycardic abnormality. Your heart is beating too fast and it's not getting blood to your brain, or your heart doesn't quite beat; it kind of just wiggles.
VFib.
Yeah, something like that. And then it'll, your blood stops getting up to your brain. But what's more common is I took too much meth and then someone shot me. Is that an overdose? Well, you took meth and then you died, but it feels disingenuous to say yes or no.
Right, right. There's a chain of causality there, but it's not the cause of death is like where do you stop?
Over,
Where do you
yeah,
stop going back in the timeline to
yeah,
determine cause of death? Because right, ultimately, like you said, like ultimately, like pretty much everybody dies of lack of blood to the brain, right? So, but
yeah.
the cause of death is not just lack of blood to the brain, right? So I guess it's like,
Over over the 3 months that I was doing internships, and so that's working full time. Um, Over the 3 months that I was doing internships, I want to say that I would consistently get about two meth calls a week. So 36 hours, um, 21 to 30 hours. Um, do that math how you will. I would consistently get about one overdose opioid call a day, a shift, up to three.
and time is of the essence of those for I mean, well, time is of the essence, I guess, for everything, but it's one of those things. It's not
Yeah,
like, I mean, well, to be too graphic, if you shoot yourself in the head, you know,
yeah.
you
There
get there
is
five
one
minutes
second
later.
where I am able to save you, and
Right,
that's before you pull the trigger.
right. But if
And
someone takes
frankly,
an,
I don't want to be in the room, anyways.
yeah, yeah, for a lot of
Um,
reasons, right?
yeah.
But if somebody takes, uh, see, I'm so used to saying if somebody takes an overdose of heroin. I even remember like when I was younger, much younger, and that was the crowd that I ran with. I had a friend who, yeah, who basically took too much heroin and uh, was non-responsive, and we called the ambulance, and they took him away, and then he was okay. So I was always like, oh, he OD'd on heroin, right? But he didn't die. So yeah, we
Well,
know.
and I mean, it probably the ambulance that heard the call probably heard like opioid overdose. So we're not even good about that. But I'm creating that distinction just to kind of clarify. Like sometimes when I say these things, they don't mean what you might think.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I wonder, is that standardized like across the board, or are there like, be- are you licensed in your state? Are you licensed in your city? Like, could you go to California and get a job, or would you have to be relicensed?
Um, so there's that difference between license and certification. I am planning on taking my licensure exam next week, hopefully. If I kind of settle things with the university. I have my certificate. I can show you my certificate and the
Do
shiny
it.
pair of scissors they gave me. Um, and the much more important award that I actually got.
Oh, it's so bizarre
Um,
still hearing your voice. I'm
oh
not
yeah,
realizing you're on a wireless mic headset. Must be nice. Damn it.
it must be nice. I like this headset a lot, and I'm not going to show it up close to the camera because I liked it so much that it's gotten grimy,
Oh,
and it's impossible to peel the various things out. Um, so there's a few status symbol things in the culture. And some of them will get you laughed at, and some of them people will respect, and most of them are useless. So this is a pair of raptor shears, which are exorbitantly expensive, and are well liked because they come with a holster, and because they look tactical.
they look like they give you a
Um,
lot of leverage.
yeah, and they come with a little ruler, so if you are cutting into someone, you can see how deep you are in them, um, which is not something that happens. Um, and I have
What are those scissors used for specifically?
cutting people's clothes off
Okay, gotcha.
and sometimes bandages.
Yeah.
And I have these, which I got for about $5, which work exactly as well, got me through my internship. And these are so expensive that I am never going to use them. But I have used them to cut open sausages a couple of times, and that is really what the Academy provided me with.
Therein lies the
Um,
irony, right? That
yeah. So this is the award I got from my class, um, and I actually super appreciate it. Um, Most likely to ask their patient a riddle. Um,
Now, is
and I
that a
feel really bad
technique?
because I was told to bring a paper plate award for someone, and I was like, okay, Sharpie, paper plate, I got this. And this is probably the second worst award that anyone, like the second least interesting award that anyone got.
Well, but
So
is that something that you do, like telling your patients a riddle? Is that sort of a bedside manner trick that you use to kind of get people to calm down a little bit?
I mean, it can be. I didn't really do that actually, but I was a tricksy bastard throughout most of training. Um, so
Do you remember any of the riddles that you would ask your patients?
so someone asked me actually about riddles, and I came up with two on the spot, and she took a week and gave me the wrong answer for one of them.
And how about for the other
Um,
one?
she refused to answer it. Um, so there's a classic one that you might have heard before. I fill any hole dug, and hide any hand thrust inside me, but you can neither drink nor feel me. Always seen, never worn.
Can you give it to me one more
Um,
time?
I fill any hole dug, and hide any hand thrust inside me, but you can neither drink nor feel me. Always seen, never worn. What am I?
See,
And so this is the sort of boring certificate that has no identifying information aside from my name, I believe. Um, Aside from
wow. And
perhaps which
that's
university I go to, but
last month.
yeah, yeah,
So that was certification, not licensure.
yeah. And so it means I've completed the training and I can go to any state I want and test for a license, including the state I'm currently in. And then if I get the license in, say, New Mexico and go to California, I can go over there and say, hey, I'm a licensed paramedic in New Mexico. And they'll go, cool, fuck off, um, until I take a remedial class there.
Back to your riddle. I fill any hole dug. I hide any hand inside me. I cannot be drank. I'm always seen but never worn. Was that?
Yes.
It's always like, it's always water or a river or a mountain or. I'm talking about Lord of the Ring sort
Yeah,
of
yeah.
level riddles. Um, I'm baffled by that. Can we get a hint?
Um, well,
Does
I
that
gave
have
a
anything
hint
to do
for
with
the other.
Dune?
I gave a hint for the other one, so I have the other hint in my head. Is there a hint I can give for this one that fits the form? Um, well, it looks like the chat has decided that the answer is Pivy. And I appreciate that. Although I suppose you could eat Poppy.
Oh, yes. I see some Nico saying shadow, which
Yes.
is it shadow?
Yeah.
Huh.
The trick with a good riddle is usually to put the answer in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There's another sort of famous one in my family that's it goes something like, so I have two mothers who each have four children. Each child was given four cats. Each cat has two balls of yarn, and each ball of yarn has two colors. How many cats does the family have?
Right. Yeah. Those kinds of
And they sit there going, okay, so
trying to track.
six, yeah, how many balls of yarn, and then how many colors, and it doesn't work out.
I'm having some trouble. I got to tell you, Nick, I'm having some trouble with that first riddle because here's my thing with riddles is I feel like everything said has to relate to the answer in a positive or negative way, right?
Yes.
So always seen, never worn. I'm, and also, it would not fill a hole that was dug on the equator on July 43rd at noon.
Well, maybe that's the answer. The point of a riddle is not usually the answer, but rather the struggle.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Just
But
to
but
really
it's
lean back and do the Alan Watts thing.
right, and trying to figure out like, well, worn in what sense, right? Like, or
Yeah.
hidden in what sense, or even filled in what sense.
Yeah.
And that's where, yeah, a lot of that fun comes from. Did you make up that riddle, or is that a riddle that is?
The format of the riddle is known to.
Yeah.
A lot of people have heard that riddle before, but I think that specific phrasing is my own.
Okay.
I stole it out of like a Viking mod for a video game.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you remember the other riddle?
Yep, I have it in front of me. Oh, and I was flirting with the person I sent it to, so blush. In your eye and on your face.
Read that context as well.
Okay. In your eye and on your face.
It's rain.
Flitting from
Rain.
person to person.
Rain.
For smell and taste.
Rain.
A sign of health and wealth.
Fog.
But neither promising nor requiring them. Many see me on others, but never themselves. What am I?
Give it to me one more time. I'm sorry, I was being a jerk.
I know. In your eye and on your face. Flitting from person to person for smell and taste. A sign of health and wealth, but neither promising nor requiring either. Many see me on others, but never themselves.
Greed.
What am I?
Envy.
I wouldn't say either is a sign of health, but it fits a lot of others. Maybe not the
Yeah, it doesn't really
flitting
fit
from
the
person to person.
Yeah. One more time.
In your eye and on your face, flitting from person to person for smell and taste. A sign of health and wealth, but neither promising nor requiring them. Many see me on others, but never themselves. What
Glasses. Contacts. Not glasses could be on your face, but not. Are they really a sign of health or wealth? Yeah. What was the hint that you ended up?
So the hint. Let's see. So the first guess that someone gave was a nose. And I responded that most people can see that, actually. They just ignore it. And that most noses don't change hands too often, but it's a good guess. And the hint was sort of that this is a reference to a common phrase involving a D&D monster. Because this was at the tabletop club at a time. COVID's a good answer. Not the one I was thinking of, but a good answer.
Not a yawn. Not a smile. I see.
Yeah.
Health and wealth. Man, I thought I was good at riddles.
Well, and the thing about riddles is that they're all about communication. It's knowing the other person. It's not knowledge of the world necessarily.
Well, unless that person is, maybe if that person created the riddle, right? But if you're doing the a box with no hinges, top or lid, yet inside golden treasure is hid, or whatever, right? I guess anyone could tell that one. All right, I give up.
There's some interesting hints in the. Okay, yeah, someone got it.
Oh, Eye of the Beholder, beauty. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
And that is why this one was a flirtatious riddle. And I still didn't tell her the answer, because I was kind of not interested by the time she asked. But Um, I wonder if she would have been more interested had she gotten the answer.
Now that see, I like this. Can you give me the riddle one more time?
In your eye and on your face, flitting from person to person for smell and taste. A sign of health and wealth, but promising nor requiring neither is a better way to phrase that. Many see me on others, but never themselves.
So where does smell come into it? I could see taste. Smell is the only thing out of that. Like for me, the
That one
shadow.
probably goes a little astray.
I feel like that one is great. To me, that one is. I love it, except for smell, right? Like because I feel like smell could lead some people astray.
Yeah,
But that's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna steal it.
yeah.
So how have you been, Nick? How is?
I have been much better than I have been when I have previously appeared. I have internet and running water and a mini fridge that I hauled down 3 flights of stairs and then up two. Um, and
Down 3 flights and then up two?
I lived on a third floor
Oh,
apartment and
okay,
then moved
right,
into
got
a
it.
second floor apartment in a different
Thought that was another
building.
riddle for a moment.
Yeah.
S-
um, Go ahead.
So you're doing better than you were.
Yes.
Is work uh, as insane as it's ever been as far as COVID stuff goes?
So I'm not working right now. We are seeing a second COVID surge, sort of in the industry. Um, but I am not because I got out when I could at the end of my internship and have refused to get a license up until hopefully a week from now. At which point I will still not be working because I am focusing on school.
So, and as far as school goes, you are in. Have you
I am in my senior year, technically speaking.
senior year of?
College, university.
Okay, so how does that? So when you say your senior year, you mean your fourth year of an undergraduate degree?
Yes, yes.
So your ENT licensure and certification was extracurricular almost?
So, generally speaking, um, there are not emergency services programs attached to colleges, or at least if there are, they're attached to a city college. And it's a professional certification sort of thing. And so you're showing up and you're saying like, hey, um, I want to do this 8 month program usually, and then get out. The nice thing about UNM and the reason I'm actually coming to UNM is because they have a 4 year emergency services degree where you get your paramedic license and if you need it, your basic license as part of your course load. And so last year I was taking paramedic academy and I was part of the academy. That there's also some like certificate guys there who are just there for their certificate. But I was also technically taking like introductory paramedicine, basics of clinical instruction, medical emergencies, 402, all of that sort of stuff. And then the 2 years previous, I was taking GED stuff and a little bit of like, we have to have a certain amount of credit hours in the degree, so we're going to make you take like a history of whatever the hell. And now I'm taking a whole bunch of advanced training classes for disaster management on top of one biology class and one honors class this semester.
So what will your degree be in, your undergraduate degree?
My undergraduate degree will be in emergency medical services
Okay.
with a focus, which doesn't show up on the degree, in disaster management and pre-medicine. And then I'll have a chemistry minor, and I might end up with an honors minor. That's kind of a next semester thing.
Damn. And your intent was to go to medical school, is that correct? Okay.
Hopefully.
Is that something you want to do immediately, or is it you want to take a couple of years of field
I'm not
work? Or,
going to be able to do it immediately because, like, if I take the MCAT when I'm planning on taking the MCAT, which is why I have heavy books that are out of reach right now, if I take the MCAT when I'm planning on taking it, there's that, like, the MCAT has to process your score and then you have to submit it. And by the time that's all done, you're not able to get into the 2022, 2023 class. But so the earliest I could get into medical school would be the 23, 24 year. I may take another gap year. See you, Grace.
Yeah, good night, Grace. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, no, I'm going to have to take 1 year, and I might take 2.
but you're going to be working as an EMT during that time.
The hope is, yeah, that I'll be working as a paramedic.
Okay. And I mean, I realize you might do any number of things, but I'm just wondering, like, as of what you're planning right now, you want to stay where you are? As far
What do
as
you mean?
in New Mexico, you want to stay in Albuquerque?
There's some reasons that I might leave Albuquerque. One of them is that there's some reasons I might leave Albuquerque. One of them is that my family's in California.
Oh,
And whatever I think of California, I like my family. And there's also an interesting med school that's been paying everyone's tuition for their first opening years.
in California?
Yeah.
Ooh,
And so if I got into that, it's kind of no contest.
yeah.
But the interesting thing is that med school is in LA. And so we sat down and we did the math. And if I go there and I pay all of the in-state costs aside from the tuition, it's actually about as much as staying here for long enough to get residency, and then going to University of New Mexico Medical School. And then also there's a chance that, like, I find something amazing in Seattle. There's the possibility that someone interesting will be there. And one of my friends is thinking of going somewhere on the East Coast, also because there's someone interesting there. So
What is this code? Someone interesting there. What does that mean?
my friend had a crush on this girl and almost applied to only med schools that would be in driving distance of her, before we convinced him that would be a very bad idea.
Med school's tough.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I can't imagine if you're dealing with that kind of drama as well. It doesn't seem like it would be a great situation to set yourself up in. But,
yeah. Well, and it would have been a good med school. He's the type of guy who has a chance to get into Johns Hopkins, and that's where he was planning on going.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
right up the road from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could visit.
Sure.
Be careful.
Hey, if he's going to be a Hopkins doctor graduate, I'd happily serve as many hot dinners as he would.
Fair enough.
As long as I can consult with him when I inexorably am stricken with
Yes.
something terminal.
Speaking of, I feel that we are inching towards wrapping up.
A bit, yeah. I'm getting a bit tired. So
Okay. So I want you to feel your body right now and feel how hard it is to be, what, 41? And look at me and look at how easily I'm breathing. And now that you've thought about that for a bit, remember that there are booster shots coming out for a variety of people, of all ages. And when they become available for you, or when people aren't paying attention to the paperwork and which shot you got originally, I would suggest sneaking in at some point.
Oh yes, I've been looking into that
Okay.
avidly, and there are. I'm not going to question this procedure, but I could basically just walk into any CBS in my area and basically say that I haven't yet gotten a shot at all, and get. I mean, I could do that tomorrow. kind of, I guess I'm waiting for a little more data on the mixing of RNA and,
The JJ, yeah.
yeah, the adeno, whatever, the virus vector, right?
Yeah.
Before I choose to jump ship, I just want to make sure that I jump ship at the right time. I want to know, like, do I need to take both shots? Do I need to take just one? Can I just kind of get on the booster regimen for an mRNA? Or there are a few questions that need to be answered. But I mean, I understand that, like, you know, especially for
Yeah.
like Moderna and Pfizer, there are vials that are used, right? And like if they start taking shots out of the vial, once they start doing that, they have to use that whole vial. And my psychiatrist now that I'm speaking to, when I was speaking to her last week, she basically got a booster of Moderna because she was in CVS, just in CVS for no other reason. And the pharmacist mentioned, they were like, hey, we have some additional shots of Pfizer that we're going to have to throw away. They're going to throw them away.
Yeah.
So if you wanted a booster, there was something. She said there was just one question. Like when they ask you, you have to answer this question. I think it's like, are you in any way immunocompromised or something like that? You have to lie. You do have to lie on paper, but that's the only question that they would have asked for her. For me, if I go in there, my lie is I've never gotten a shot before, right? And I'm like, I'm unvaccinated and I've changed my mind.
Oh, so she was immunocompromised and she had to say she wasn't.
No, she was not immunocompromised, but she's already had both Pfizer shots. And
Okay.
she got the third.
I'm not a pharmacy person.
Yeah, so she got
I just put needles in people.
Right.
That's my job.
So she got her booster basically because she happened to be in the CVS at the time where they had vials that they were going to have to throw out. And it was kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it were a situation where me taking a booster was preventing someone else from getting it, I just wouldn't do it, right? But if it's a case where it's just like, hey, this stuff is going to waste and there's a lot of work that needs to be done for the distribution plan outside of, I guess, first world countries, if you can still call U.S. a first world country. But, you know.
Do you know the origin of that term? It frustrates me when people use that term and they don't know the origin. Not that you're frustrating me right now, but just it's so interesting.
I actually genuinely do not know.
It was to my knowledge, this is a thing I heard. It might not be true. The origin of those terms, as far as I'm aware, is that it was a concerted propaganda effort during the Cold War to separate capitalist countries from battleground countries like Vietnam, which were then termed Third World, which is why we think of Africa and Arabia as Third World countries, which is really interesting.
World country.
And the Second World countries are Russia and the Soviet-aligned countries. We just don't use that terminology anymore since the dissolution of the USSR.
I see. I did not know that. I mean, it checks out like logically.
Yeah.
So,
and it's fascinating to me, because that term is political. It's not economic. But we think about it as economic because, well, yeah, but
I don't really think of it as economic as much as systemic. But I guess, yeah, a lot of people, whatever it is, it comes from this sort of idea that, I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah.
I had never thought about the etymology of first world or third world. It is strange because, like you said, nobody really says second world about anything anymore. And that makes sense that it would be because that was a USSR designation. But I don't really know where that came from or why I still use it. And I certainly...
Well, and it's not wrong to use. The concept is...
Yeah, I mean, but what does it actually designate, right? Like, is it like a GDP thing? Is it a, like you said, is it...
If people
capitalism?
We are comfortable pitying pee in a bucket, it
What's
is
that?
third world. If people we are comfortable pitying pee in a bucket, it's third world. That is actually the definition given by my... Oh, no, this is the wrong book. By the book that I'm not holding up, my Introduction to International Disaster Management.
I like that you're actually holding up a book that is not the book that you're... I'm surprised it's not Dracula, honestly.
I Let me get my Dracula here.
I knew you would have it at within arm's length. Oh, hey,
Here's my Dracula.
that's not Dracula.
Here's my other Dracula.
Hey, that's also not Dracula. Do I have a Dracula within arm's reach? I don't anymore. I do not. I do have this within arm's reach, of course, which
Hey,
everybody should have within arm's reach.
I'm gonna say I have a digital edition.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm pretty sure I do too, but I for this one I like to, and it's one of those ones where the pages are unevenly cut, so I dig that. I dig
nice.
the tactile feel of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Nick, it was great talking to you, and thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yeah.
And I'm
sorry to make you feel aged, either through the birthday wishes or through the conversation earlier. I'm in a similar position with the Moderna Pfizer question, but I have dues to pay in terms of bullying you medically. So
it's look, I'm the first. I see this as a civic duty. I'm not shirking in any way. And I shirk whenever I can. Like when it comes to like being told what to do, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, no, you know. But in this case, I was.
Yeah.
The moment I could take a back. That's why I think I got stuck with J&J. Although actually at the time I wanted J&J, but it just happened to be the first one that was available to me. And I was like, yay, I got J&J. I only have to get one shot. I'm so lucky. Boy, I don't know if you know the story. I'm sure you do, but it was they paused it literally the day after I got the shot.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry about that. I felt a little bit bad about bullying you, like don't get the J&J, and then you got it, and I was like, well, okay, that's his choice. And then they
it wasn't a
stopped
choice. It just happened to align with my preference.
Yes, it just happened to line up with the choice that you would have made had you been given a choice.
If I had been given a choice, I would have probably chosen Yes, I would have chosen J&J, but I wasn't given a choice.
I wanted to do a bad thing. I just wasn't able to. I did not have the means or opportunity.
Yes,
I had
the Actus Rea was in effect, but the mens rea was not. If you want to get lawful about it. But anyway, okay, Nick, I hope you have a good evening, and
I hope you do
I'll
too.
talk to you again soon, and thank you for everything that you always do. You know.
Thank you.
And talk to you later.
See you.
All right, and to all of you, thank you again. Thank you for the birthday wishes, and just for being there, like y'all always are, even when I'm not. Glad that I came back after 3 weeks away, basically, and that y'all were still here. That means a lot to me. And can't promise that I'm not going to miss these, but I'm going to do my best. So, and again, just as a reminder, if you have Netflix, check out Midnight Mass if you can. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Meant that one. And keep your eyes open for, see, I can tell when I'm getting tired because I start to what I'm saying start to kind of my words get missed and things go funny, sound weird. I don't know what. Let's bring in the goodnight music, which is actually a take on the Life is Strange theme that I did. But now I like it so much, I just want to use it all the time. I will see you all next week, and I wish you all well. All right. Have a good night.